Let's go to solving rational inequalities. But before that, you need to review this interval and set notation. Okay, if we use parentheses, say for example this one, a b na ordered pair, or that is in interval notation. Parentheses meaning the endpoints are not included. That is why whole lang siya. Not included. If you use brackets, then shaded. Okay, for this one, A is shaded, B is not shaded. For this one, A is not shaded, B is shaded. A to infinity, this is greater than A, but A is not included, no? A will be the smallest number of the interval, but A is not included, so A is a boundary, I mean. Here is A is the lowest shaded, A is included. This one, B is the highest boundary. The boundary for the highest entry or number in negative infinity to B. And this one will be your B is included. So B is the highest or largest number in the interval. And this one will be the set of real numbers, the whole number line. Okay? So that's how we write the notation, interval notation. So now let's go to how to solve the rational inequality. So we have these steps. First is we will rewrite the inequality as a single fraction. Okay. Single fraction. On one side of the inequality, symbol and 0 on the other side. So meaning, if our inequality uses less than, dapat 0 na lang on this side. Okay? So kung greater than or equal, 0 na lang on one side or the other side of the inequality. Letter B, determine over which intervals or what intervals the fraction takes on the positive and negative values. We will learn that one later. So I, locate the x values for which the rational expression is 0, meaning our aim for this one will be our concern here will be the numerator. Or undefined. For the undefined, our concern here is the denominator. Then we will mark the numbers on the number line. Now we will mark them on the number line. Use a shaded circle to indicate that the value is included in the solution set, and hollow if it is not included. Okay, so these numbers partition the number line into intervals. So select a test point within the interior of each interval. No, interior. So do not include the, what do you call this one? Do not include the endpoints. Okay, the sign of the rational expression at this test point is also the sign of the rational expression at each interior point in the aforementioned interval. Then summarize this interval for the solution. Okay, let's apply that one. Okay, solve this inequality. So we will solve this. So the first step is, since this is greater than or equal, it must be in this form. So that is why we need to transpose -1 on the other side. So that's why we have this. So -1. Then operate. The LCD is x plus 1. Nakuha na. So that is, anima na siya. 2x, this is x plus 1, 2x minus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, because x plus 1 is the LCD. Okay, so that is why we have it This one. Then operate 2x minus x minus 1. No? Remove the parenthesis. So that is why we have 2x minus x, x, then minus 1. And the denominator is x plus 1. Okay, so this is the first part. This is the first part. Next is, our next concern will be the numerator and the denominator. Ma-0 lang, this expression will become 0 if your numerator will be 0. So that is why we have x equals 1. So 0. Undefined if your denominator is equal to 0. So x equals negative 1. Right? Ma-0 lang siya if your numerator is equal to 0. And ma-undefined siya if your denominator is equal to 0. Then we will mark that one on the number line. So this is our number line. And positive 1 is here, naka-shaded. Why shaded? Because it is, we use the x plus 1. Greater than or equal. Our inequality here is greater than or equal. So pwede mag-0. Okay? So that is why pwede mag-0. So sa numerator man siya, so shaded. Pag denominator gani, do not shade it. Okay, if it is the 0 of your denominator or the result of your denominator, then ma-undefined always ang imong fraction. That is why at x equals negative 1, this is on your denominator, naka-hollow lang siya. Okay? What is next? The table. Okay, the table. Okay, so choose convenient test points in the intervals determined by negative 1 to 1 and so on. So take note, we have this. Okay. This is our interval. We have negative 1 and 1. So in this case, we have 3 intervals, sub-intervals for the all real numbers. We have this part. So this part is x is less than negative 1. No? Left man na siya, so less than negative 1. And then this part, this will be your x is between negative 1 and 1. So this one. And the last part is this one. X will be greater than 1. Okay? So these are your 3 intervals. So that is why you really need to draw your number line after finding your zeros sa numerator and denominator. Okay? The next test point is you need to pick 1 points from here. 1 point, from here. Okay? So, in this first interval, I choose negative 2. And the second interval, we have 0. Then the third interval, we have x equals 2. Okay? Then take note, we have this. We have the x minus 1 and x plus 1 as our expressions, the numerator and denominator, and of course, this is our whole fraction. Now, paano ning minus plus here? Now, in order for us to determine if it is minus or plus, we need to substitute our test point. For example, if x is negative 2, so x negative 2, we have x minus 1 will become negative 2 minus 1. This is negative 3. So that is why negative ang nakabutang. Kaya negative 3 man. Okay? Kung x plus 1 po, negative 2 plus 1 still negative 1. So just copy the sign, that is negative. Okay? And do the same. If x is 0, we have negative 1, so negative. If x is 0, positive 1, so which is positive. If x is 2, 2 minus 1, positive 1. If x is 2, 2 plus 1, 3, positive 3. Okay? Then to get this last line, kani siya, we need to do the operation. Take note of x minus 1 divided by x plus 1. So this is our x minus 1, this is our x plus 1. The operation is division. So negative divided by negative is positive. Negative divided by positive, negative. And positive divided by positive is positive. So we have plus minus plus. Now, how do we get our final answer? Now, take note, our inequality is greater than or equal sa problem. Okay? So, this means that we will get the positive values. Okay? The same thing with greater than. You also get the positive sign. Pag less than or equal and less than, you get the minus sign. So in this case, positive man ta, this one. So our intervals must be in these columns. Okay, so kani. This one will be x less than negative 1 and x greater than 1. Take note, shaded C1. So in interval notation, natay negative infinity. This is negative infinity. To negative 1, whole man siya. So, parenthesis, yun, bracket C1. Kaya included man siya. Then, to positive infinity. So, that is why we have that solution. Okay? So, next. Example 6. We need to solve this. So again, we start with transposition. Dapat 0 lang sa one side. So transpose 1 over x. And then the LCD is x times x minus 2. So 3x minus 2 minus 1 over x. Okay, so the LCD here is x times x minus 2. Okay. So, if we multiply this here, cancel si x minus 2, mag-cancel ni. So, mabilin is 3 times x minus 3 xx. So, we have parenthesis x minus 2. Okay. So, still we need this one. X times x minus 2. Okay, so therefore we have this. Okay, and then operate, remove the grouping symbol. This will become 3x minus x plus 2. So 3x minus x is 2x, then plus 2. Less than 0, then copy the denominator. Ang last is i-factor out lang si 2 for this part because 2 is common. You can have this or this one for a letter A for the first part. Next, what is next? We need the numerator and the denominator. So, ang numerator will be your, muna siya ang katong maka-0. So, maka-0 ani if 2x plus 2. If 2x plus 2 is 0. So this will become 2x, negative 2x is, divide by 2, negative 1. Okay, then sa undefined will be your numerator, denominator. So x times x minus 2 equals 0. So we have x equals 0 or x minus 2 is 0. So we have x equals 2. So we have two results for the denominator or maka-undefined. So in short, we have three numbers. We have negative 1, 0, and 2. So arrange them. Okay, so the smallest is negative 1, 0, and 2. Ang 0 and 2, they are on the denominator. So that is why hollow sila, hollow. Always kina siya. Pag denominator, hollow. Then the numerator, why is it hollow? It is hollow because our inequality is less than. Okay, less than. Strict man siya if it is strict. If it is less than or equal, then shaded. But since this is strict, so hollow lang siya. Okay, so after this, nanata interval. How many intervals? We have 4. This is the first interval. This will be your x is less than -1. Okay. Then next interval will be between -1 and 0. Next interval will be between 0 and 2. And last interval will be x will be greater than 2. Okay. So that will be our intervals for the table. Okay, so now we have this. So mo na niya akong gisulat. Okay. At x less than -1, pwede ta mag point anam to, no? -1, 0 and 2. Okay. So we have 4 intervals. So look at this. Sa x less than -1, pick 1 here. Do not use the endpoint, ha. So less than, give another any number here. So let's try -2. Any number here, -1/2. Any number here, we have 1. Any number here, we have 3. And again, you substitute. If x is -2, so substitute 2 times -2 plus 1. We have 2 times -1, we have -2. That is why negative. Okay, if x is -2, this is negative. So negative. So x minus 2, -2 minus 2 is -4, so negative. Okay, you can use your calculator. Okay, online man, so you can use your calculator, then just copy the sign. You substitute the values. Okay, so we have this table. Now, for the last part, take note of this equation. Now, you follow the arrangement. So, the numerator, this is the numerator. These two are the denominator. Okay? So, parang ingunan for this part. Negative divided by negative times negative. Negative times negative is positive. So this will become negative over positive. Negative over positive is negative. Okay? For this part, the positive divided by negative times negative. Diba? Positive. Then ang denominator, negative times negative. So positive divided by positive, we have positive. Okay? So that is why we have plus. So you do the same with these next two columns. So we have this final answer, negative and positive. Now what will we choose? Positive or negative? Take note, in our given expression, we have less than, no? Less than 0. So what are the numbers less than 0? They are the negative numbers. So that is why we will choose this one and this one. And negative man. So what are these intervals? We have x less than -1 and between 0, 2. So they are all hollows. So we can write this negative infinity to -1, union 0, 2. So parenthesis lahat. Okay? Okay. So now let's go to an application word problem. So a box with a square base is to have a volume of 8 cubic meters. So So nakay box. Take note, this is the volume. Box with a square base, meaning if this is the base, this is the square. Ang base lang sa baba. Pero yung height, pwede mas mahaba sa length and width ng base, no? Because only the base is the square. Ito lang ang square. Okay. So volume is 8 cubic meters. Let x be the length of the side of the square and h be the height. So meaning this is x. If this is x, since this is a square, x po ni, right? But for the h, it must not be x for the height. We will denote it by h because only the base lang man is the base, is the square. Okay, what are the possible measurements of a side of a square base, a square base, if the height should be longer than the side of the square base? So height should be longer than the side, so meaning h is greater than x. So we have that relationship of h and x. Okay, so we have this illustration na. So the variable x is the length of the side of the box. Now, take note the volume of a box is length times width times height. Okay, so we have this width, height, length, or width, length, height. Now, the width and length, so we have this width and length, we have x. So that is why we have x squared times h, no? X times h. So meaning x squared times h. And the volume is 8. So we have this. Now solving for h, divide by x squared. So we have h is x squared. H is equal to 8 over x squared. Now, take note of this relationship. H is greater than x. So meaning, mas malaki si h kay x. So this will be like this. Now, since this is our h. So h is greater than x. So this is now our equation. 8 over x squared is greater than x. Then we will now use our previous knowledge or discussion in solving for the values, possible values of x. Okay? Oh. Okay, so we have this. Takaan na to. So, step number 1 is to transpose. Kaya dapat 0 lang on the other side. So, transpose. Then, the LCD is x squared. So, we have this. So, may mo siya 8 minus x times x squared over x squared. So, that is why we have 8 minus x cubed. So, by the property or by algebra, gamit na algebra na ha. Algebra, we can rewrite 8 minus x cubed as 2 cubed minus x cubed. No? Then apply this. If we have a cubed minus b cubed, the factors for this one are a minus b and a squared plus ab plus b squared. So in this case, our a is 2, our b is x. Okay, so let's apply. So a, so we have 2 minus x, a squared. So a squared is 4. And then AB, so plus, our A is 2, our B is X, so 2X. Then our B is X, so X squared, so X squared. Okay, ana. Okay, baliktad ya pagsulat. Okay, so the same lang na siya ani. Okay, the same like this. Okay, now, what is next? The next part is to find the numerator and the denominator, the zeros and the undefined. Okay, for the numerator, we have 2 minus x equals 0. So solving, we have x equals 2. This is for the zeros. So mo siya ang numerator. Ang isa, we have x squared plus 2x plus 4 equals 0. Now, you will arrive here at a complex number. So, complex number man, meaning we will not include the result of this one. Okay? Do not include the result of this one kay complex number man. We are only on the set of real numbers. So that is why we will only consider x equals 2. Now, for the denominator, itong undefined, we have x squared equals 0. So x is equal to 0. So we only have two values. Okay? So sa number line, we only have 0 and 2. Mali ni siya ang sabuk. So 0 and say for example we have 2 here. Greater than, so whole gyapon 0 and 2. This is wrong, this is wrong. So we only have how many intervals? X less than 0, x is between 0 and 2, and 2 greater than x greater than 2. Okay, so that is why we have this table. X less than 0, x is between 0 2, and x greater than 2. Again, so 0 and 2. So in this part, choose one number, we have negative 1. This part, choose one number, we have 1. And for this part, we choose one number, which is 3. Again, substitute to find the signs. If x is negative 1, 2 minus negative 1, 2 minus negative 1, so we have 2 plus 1, which is 3. So that is why it's positive number, and so on. Okay, so this is now the signs, the complete table. And again, for this one, you follow the arrangement of your given rational expression. Now just use the signs. Now take note, our expression is less than 0 sa original expression, right? Katong sa A. So therefore, kung less than 0 man, we will only get the less than 0, but greater than, sorry sayo. Greater than 0. Pero greater than 0. Okay, greater than 0 man, so we'll use positive. Now take note, we're talking about side length or the height. We cannot have x equals x less than 0 because that involves negative numbers. So our answer only is from 0 to 2 only. Okay? So the possible height is from 0 to 2. Therefore, the height of the box should be less than 2 meters. Okay, last. So a dressmaker ordered several meters of red cloth from a vendor. But the vendor only had 4 meters of red cloth. So 4 meters ra yung naa. The vendor bought the remaining lengths of red cloth from a wholesaler. So namalit siya of 1,120. He then sold those lengths of red cloth to the dressmaker along with the 4 original cloth to a total of 1,600. So nanatay, if x is our length, or length natay plus 4 kay nagdungag man siya original 4 meters para sa red cloth. If the vendor's price per meter is at least 10 pesos more than the wholesaler's price, so take note of this, 10 pesos more than the wholesaler's price per meter, what possible lengths of cloth did the vendor purchase from the wholesaler? Okay, so we have this, let the variable x be the length of the additional cloth purchased by the vendor of the wholesaler. So additional cloth ang x. So the wholesaler's price of red cloth per meter kay wholesaler man is of course 1,120 divided by x. Mamaning additional, the additional cloth was from the wholesaler nga price, no? Ito yung gipalit. So pagbalik niya sa dressmaker, he gave the cloth plus the additional 4. So that is why we have x plus 4. And the vendor's price is 1,600 divided by x plus 4. Okay, so we have these two. This is for the wholesaler and this is for the vendor's cloth, red cloth per meter. So, since the vendor's price per meter is at least 10 pesos more than the wholesaler's price per meter, the inequality can be written as this one. Okay? So, ani. So, anim ko na siya una. 1,600 x plus 4 at least 10 pesos. When we use the word at least, it must we will use greater than or equal. Okay? At least 10 pesos plus the wholesaler price. So, wholesaler's price is 1,120 over x. Okay, that is why when you transpose this expression, we will arrive to this inequality. Okay, so now we will go back to our process. Okay, this is now our process. Dapat mag-0 ang left side. So in this case, what he did in this book is, since 1,600, 1,120, and 10 are all divisible by 10, no? Divisible by 10. So, gi-divide siya by 10. So, 1,600 divided by 10 is 160. 1,120 divided by 10, 112. 10 divided by 10 is 1. No? Because it is easier to manipulate if the numbers or the rational expressions are in lowest terms. Okay, and then we transpose -1. Then we have the LCD x times x plus 4. Using our previous knowledge, we will arrive at this one. No, LCD man na. Okay, so if this is our LCD, so x times x plus 4 divided by x plus 4, mag-cancel. So ang mabilin, 160 times x, that is why we have 160x. Minus x times x plus 4 times x, kaniya mo cancel. So, mabili ni siya 112 times x plus 4. Then, minus 1. Since this is 1, we will multiply this by 1. X squared plus 4x. Then, removing the denominator, the grouping symbols. We have this. Okay. Grouping symbols lang. So, meaning, i-distribute din eh. And this one. Next is combine like terms. So, x squared. So, in this case, mag-combine tag like terms. This will become negative x squared. Okay. Tapos, kaninduha, this will become negative 48. napay isa ka, napay x diri. So we have 46, 40, 48, 44 positive. So positive 44x, and then negative 448, which is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Then divide both sides by negative 1. Now, if we divide a fraction or an expression by a negative number, the direction of your inequality will change. So, from greater than or equal, it will change to less than or equal because we divide it by a negative number. So, divided by negative 1, so ma-positive, x squared, kani ma-negative, minus 44x, ma-positive, 448. Okay? And then, by factoring, we have this as our numerator. So, this is now our final answer for letter A lang. Okay? Then, what is next, gani? For the numerator na punta. Muna siya makapa-0. So, we have x minus 16 equals 0. So, we have x equals 16. X minus 28 equals 0. So, x equals 28. So, we have two values for the zeros for the numerator. Now, for the undefined, for the denominator, we have 2. X plus 4 equals 0. So, we have x equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. X negative 4. So, again, we have 2. So, in short, we have 4 numbers. So, medyo daghan ang atong intervals. So, look at this. So, these are the result. We have 16, 28 for the zeros and undefined 0 and 4. So, arrange them or plot them ay sa number line. So, since these are from the denominator, so whole. And since our equation or inequality uses this one, so less than or equal. So, ang sa kaning numerator, naka-shaded. Okay, shaded. So, we have now our 4 intervals. 5 intervals. So, make your table. So, we have this. This is x less than negative 4. X is between negative 4 and 0. Between 0, 16. Between 16, 28 and greater than 28. Choose your test points from only one. Test points from here. Okay. And again, you substitute to find the signs. Now, take note, after making your table, less than or equal man. So, it means we will use the minus sign. Okay, so minus sign, we only have 2. 1 and 2. Since we're talking about a length of the cloth, no? So, of course, di ni pwede. Length of the cloth man. So, this will be our final answer. Okay? Since we're dealing with a length of a cloth. So, the vendor bought and sold an additional length of red cloth between 16 to 28 meters. Inclusive. Because shaded man. So, 16 to 28 meters. Okay, shaded man. Okay? So, this ends our topic. It's very long. Then, try your quiz. Thank you.